Machine presents the Brews with the Dudes podcast.
So it's super tight. Show it off like the edge of your G-string.
The whole G-string.
The whole G-string? Damn, dude.
It's a big G.
That's another Ving Rhames Bruce Willis movie in the making.
Yeah, I can see that.
The whole G-string.
The whole G-string.
Yeah. So after the whole 9 yards, what was the follow-up to it? Wasn't there another one that was like the whole 10 yards or something like that?
Yeah, 10 yards.
So
I don't think there's a third where they went 11 yards.
Okay, so if you were to have it kind of following that, like the whole, the whole G string, would the next one be the whole H string?
Do you do H string or do you just, it depends. If you're going physically like strings, yeah, then it would be H string.
Yeah.
But if you're going undergarments, then it would just go to thong. Would that be the sequel?
Yeah, I don't know. So does it shrink then? Like,
you just keep.
How does that work?
Well, is a G string smaller than a thong, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So you'd be
I think it
backwards.
might be.
So
Make sure my audio looks good. Hey guys, does our audio sound good?
Can you see us?
Can you hear us? That's half the battle.
So if you're doing movies going off of undergarments and you're starting with G-string and you move to thong,
yeah.
After that would be what? Tighty whities? Speedo?
God, I don't know.
Bikini bottom?
Yeah, bikini bottom. God, I don't know, man. You see, I don't know which angle to go with this thing because it's like, do you wear less garments? Like, is that the progression you eventually have less on, or is the progression that you put more on?
I guess it depends on the concept of the movie.
Guaranteed that would be like, if the movie worked backwards that way, if there's no like working toward the desired thing where it just like the movie started with just like bare nakeds and then they eventually dressed like a nun by the end of it, nobody'd watch till the end.
So it's like if Memento was a porno.
Memento. Oh man, so I haven't seen Memento yet.
You should. It's fantastic.
It's funny. The look of disappointment
really
you give me when I haven't seen a movie that you think that I should see is hilarious.
You should. It is. It plays backwards.
Yeah, I hear that.
Brilliant because of it.
That's cool. Okay, so it's a little complicated.
It is
kind of awesome.
After about the first 20 minutes, you kind of get a feel for it and how they do it, and it starts to make a little bit more sense as you watch
okay,
it. That's
cool.
But it's a whodunit film.
Gotcha.
Really good.
Okay. Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Brews with the Dudes podcast. I am Jake Lindquist.
I'm Donnie Allen.
And we are coming to you from inside of the old Ford again. That's why this thing sounds so good.
Yes. Except for you're looking at us, so it doesn't look the best, but...
No, it could look better.
Could
look better. There's no C cups or D cups on us.
Yeah, there's none of those.
Maybe a little bit of A cups just because
I'm working on it.
We're aging. Yeah.
Slowly.
I know. It's like I've just been watching how much I eat, and it's amazing just what being like really conscious of what you're eating
goes a long
like
way.
Counting calories.
Yeah, be like,
it's just math.
If I had, I don't know, chocolate syrup pancakes for breakfast, that's a lot of calories.
It's a lot of calories.
That means I probably shouldn't get McDonald's for lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's probably something to like the whole carbs and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm not going to discount that. Like the people who count carbs religiously, even if they're not diabetics. I'm sure the way that like your body converts that into storage fat, but I really think like if you just want to lose weight, it's simpler than that. Like I'm pretty sure you could eat a loaf of bread and still lose weight as long as you burn more calories than you take in.
That's the key.
I think.
At least from the
for more health tips, follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, so water's wet and fire burns.
Yeah, exactly. And if I eat too much sriracha, it also burns. When I poop.
Yeah, for me it's Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Right through me.
Even though the food isn't hot, it still burns on the way out.
Oh yeah. Taco Bell destroys me.
I haven't had Taco Bell in
Taco
ages.
Bell is one of the few things where my body can take a solid and easily turn it into a liquid.
Oh, I hear that.
No effort. Within like 30 minutes.
Yeah, how is that? I don't know, man.
Because
it's
not real food.
I think we should probably take a liquid and turn it into a solid. That's also a poop joke.
We got a paper bag.
Although my beer poops aren't the most solid thing.
Yeah, neither are mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife can tell when I'm drinking the night before.
Oh.
Because like
How hard she's got to scrub the toilet.
if I wake up and within the first 45 minutes of my day I'm in the bathroom, she's like, "You were drinking, weren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, maybe."
Interesting.
Ta-da!
Rad cats?
Ratty cats.
Ratty cats.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I bought it strictly because it's very 80s themed, as you can tell. And we've been on a bit of a 80s themed week, I feel.
Yes.
If you haven't checked it out, our latest episode of the E30 is up, and it's got a new intro to it. And we've been discussing the last week or so about said intro. So just 80s music and synthesizers and the bright colors and all that have been stuck in my head. And so as soon as I saw this, I'm like, I have to buy this.
Yeah, that's super cool. Here, let me see if I can try and show the people where we don't have
have a bad glare.
Yeah. There we go. Sorry, guys. I'm kind of an idiot. I can't. There it is. Oh my God! Hey, look at that. Look at that. It's still very hard to see, and the camera's gonna start trying to focus on it and then screw everything up.
Yeah, it's all fuzzy again.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Rad cats. That screams my childhood right there. Like that aesthetic is 150% my childhood.
Yeah. See, this gives me like I expect to see this at Up Down.
Yeah. Right.
110%. They had a box of this sitting behind the bar. I'd be like, okay, cool.
Oh yeah,
It fits.
it'd be very appropriate. Yeah, I mean they have vaporwave. What were the other like 80s style ones? I can't remember. Like, there's beer in the room, so my brain's going
Beer.
blank.
So this is
she's a puppy top for sure.
Is she?
New England style
Oh, yeah.
India Pale Ale. That sounds yummy.
So I really suck at using a wrench to open a beer.
Well, you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
So
That's why I really suck at opening a beer with a
yeah,
wrench.
the fear is, and oh man, these are actually like kind of small. Okay.
The fear is just going to slip out of your hand and smack you in the face.
More like the wrench is gonna hit the mic, and everyone's gonna hate me because of it.
It's going to be a loud thud.
More like clang,
Clang.
followed by everybody deaf. There we go. You
It
can do it.
smells
Put your
fantastic.
crack into it. Yeah, man. So we're gonna have to pour one out for our homie DMX. Rest in peace.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer.
It's a huge bummer,
So,
especially for my age group, because I was 16 when he came out.
see, I still remember, I can't remember the name.
Maybe
of the song.
17. Party
Is it
up in here.
Yes, Up in Here, yeah. And I
Up
got,
in here.
got in
up
60
in
seconds.
Here. Yeah, y'all gonna make me go all out.
Yep,
Up in here.
Sitting in the Humvee and stuff, and there's a snake on the ground and all that crap.
Yeah, that's such a good. That's such a funny scene. What does he say? He's gonna have to slither his way home. Snake's gonna have to slither his way home.
Yep, yeah.
There's so many good one-liners in that movie.
Well, it's a Nicolas Cage film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's surprisingly has a pretty good sized cast.
This is an excellent beer.
It is very good. It reminds me a little bit of like a Rebel IPA.
Dude, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah,
Rebel IPA is fantastic as well.
yeah, that's
like this.
exactly it. Yeah, this is excellent. It's by Carbon 4 Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In Madison, Wisconsin.
that's awesome. Yeah, the Midwest is so good with beers.
Yeah, we're very spoiled. Like, okay, so Minnesota, we get really cold. We get a lot of
Yeah.
ice. But we make some damn good beer.
We do.
We're very spoiled with how many good breweries are Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's kind of extraordinary. I mean, if you compare it to some of the other places in the country that have like really good breweries, I mean, I'd go as far as saying we're competing with the Pacific Northwest. I mean, some people claim that California has like the most, supposedly they have the most breweries, but it's also like a massive state.
Yeah, they take up, over half the coast out there.
Yeah.
That's not really fair.
And I don't,
The population of Minnesota is one city in California.
I mean, I don't doubt that there's a lot of beer drinkers out there, but beer is it's like a heavy drink that I would assume that it's more of a Midwest thing anyways. Because in the summer months, I'm not always all about beer unless it's like lighter tasting.
Well, in the summer, I find myself drinking more like a summer shandy. Like it's something a little bit more juicy flavored.
Yeah, definitely.
But in wintertime, like it's cold. I'm gonna stay inside and stay bundled up. I might as well have a stout or some good IPAs or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Something a little bit thicker.
Yeah, in the summer months, I find myself like I'd like a gin and tonic. A lot of gin drinks, really.
Screwdrivers.
Rum drinks are great in the summer, especially if you're like sitting out on a patio somewhere and just
White Russian.
It's some $15 rum drink that some person like has 8 different fruits in it, and it's brought out by a big boobed waitress. That's a good.
Comes
a good
with
scene.
a meal and a show.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, it's like we talked a little bit about Psycho Susie's. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but so there is a restaurant. It is a motoring lounge, they call it. In what part of Minneapolis? I can never remember. It's where the old Grain Belt Brewery is.
It's by the river.
Yeah, it's by the river.
River.
So Psycho Susie's is fantastic, really cool aesthetic.
Yeah,
good people.
If you've ever seen Pulp Fiction, the bar that Ving Rhames hangs out at, it's kind of like that.
Right.
Kind of 80s, early 90s themed, Hawaiian.
It's very like cheesy
tiki,
Hawaiian.
Yeah,
it's very tiki bar.
Tiki-like, but like I said, the cast of Pulp Fiction could walk in and you'd be like, okay, you're at home.
Oh,
here.
right. Yeah, and they've got a patio on the back that overlooks the Scuzzy River, and it's pretty cool. And they have some killer rum drinks. And the wife and I, that's actually where we got those glasses that we had during the interviews for the year of the year of the E30 series. So we make sure to check that out, guys. It's really cool. If nothing else, like just check out the intro of the second one to know a little bit more of what we're talking about. It's super cool. We actually had somebody design motion graphics for the beginning of that. It came out awesome.
Yeah, and if you want to see an old German car attempt to be a boat, totally worth the time. Because it doesn't work.
Yeah, not so much.
No.
So Psycho Susie's, it's so it's got this cool little like patio on the back of it that overlooks the Scuzzy River. But they have amazing rum drinks, and so the glasses that we use in that interview, we got from there. So you get these crazy tiki ceramic cups, and then they bring you out some amazing rum drinks in that.
So my wife doesn't do a whole lot of drinking. The last time we were there, though, she wasn't pregnant, and she got a drink, and they're strong. At least I heard they were strong.
Yeah, they're definitely strong.
I don't know, I guess I'm an alcoholic, but I definitely drink more than she does. And to me, it was strong-ish, but if you're drinking alcohol, you should be able to taste the alcohol. So just be wary of that.
Right.
If you do get a drink, it might be a little strong for your liking, but top-notch.
Right.
You have to get the tater tots.
Tater tots are excellent.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. I can't remember for the life of me what the sandwich was that I had, but it was steak-based. The hell was it? I think it was like a steak wrap of some type that had like a spicy mayo in it.
Ooh,
and
that sounds tasty.
It was like a steak French thing, but it had like a spicy mayo to it or something. It was amazing. So anyways, check it out if you guys are ever in Minneapolis. Then if you're in Minneapolis, get in touch with us. We might be on the way down for whatever reason. Pick up some old stupid pile of shit that we're going to work on, or parts for a pile of shit.
We need more of those.
Yeah, exactly.
We always catch ourselves going down to the cities, though, once every few months, especially in the summertime.
We're especially going to do that this summer.
Yeah, car shows. I go down to see soccer games once in a while, just to see buddies.
Yeah, it's a necessity.
Just to go pro karting. I mean,
yeah, which we got to do a little bit more of. One of these times, we're actually going to hook up some GoPros to the front of those things and let the people watch us suck at it.
Now, you were doing pretty good.
I'm okay at it.
You were doing better than I was. You did super good.
Yeah,
I think
I placed really good for my first time at that track.
I think some of those times that they had, though, are completely affected by temperature. We went during the spring where the track was a little bit colder, and I bet you in the summertime where everything's warmer, you can get a lot more traction, and you can fly through those corners a lot quicker.
So my buddy Ian's he's a 200-pounder. He's probably, I don't even know. Like, Ian, don't be angry, but 210, 220, probably somewhere in there. And maybe he's a little more, he's a tall dude. He's a really tall dude, so he actually might be a little bit heavier than that.
On your caliber of tall dude, or like to me, what's a tall dude?
I think he's like 6'2".
Okay, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
That's a general.
So I think he might be
dude.
like 6'1" or 6'2". Somewhere in that ballpark. He's a pretty big dude, but so yeah, he's a pretty phenomenal driver. So he races endurance racing, and man, I'm drawing a blank. I cannot remember the name of his team. If I can think of it, I'll.
It's not AWD racing, is it?
No,
that's
that's Mike. Those are the Rotary dudes.
Oh, that's right.
Again, that's another group to check out, is the IED racing guys. Fastest, isn't it? His RX-7 is the fastest FC convertible
Yes.
in the world, I think.
At least in Minnesota.
I think it's in the world.
I think you're right. I think
it's in the world.
I think it's the world.
But anyway, so Ian, so he does endurance racing, and he does pro karting occasionally. He is in the 16s?
Probably 16s.
17-1.
Because you were almost 17s.
Yeah.
Or you're just into the 17s.
He was a 17-1, and the fastest guys out there are doing 16.5 or 16.4, I think. So he's a big dude, and he's knocking on the 16s, which is incredidible.
If you're not into racing, half a second is a long time.
It's huge.
It's massive. You're like 0.5 of a second. Like, that's that.
Right. Well, I knocked off.
No, it's massive in racing.
What did I knock off? Like 0.4 of a second?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Which to me, like it's hardly noticeable. Like you feel it where you're like, oh, that felt fast, but you don't really know, because I've had feeling fast situations where it wasn't.
Well, the funny thing about racing is your fastest laps, you're not out of control. Like, there's a saying that goes slow is fast. It's more how smooth was everything. That's what's gonna make you fast, not like, oh, I went around that corner super, super fast. Yeah, but you had the back end kicked out on you because you're going so fast. Your line wasn't right, whatever. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean it was a fast lap.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it can feel fast, but it doesn't mean that it is. You know, feeling fast to you could also be a little bit out of control.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, so that my first times out, and it was at the other track in Minneapolis. Technically, I don't even know if it's Minneapolis. Well, yeah, actually, the other one would have been.
I think
it's mid-south-ish Minneapolis. And what I had it was kind of funny. Like, I had expected myself to be one of the faster people out there, just sheerly by size, because at the time I was a good 25, 30 pounds less. So I'm not a super big dude to begin with. And I thought, like, oh, I've raced before in cars, so like, surely I'll do okay out here. I sucked. I was like, I think a second and a half behind like the fastest dudes out there. And I realized, like, oh, I'm going like balls to the wall, pitching it sideways into corners, thinking that I'm making good time, and I'm doing just dog shit. So I come flying through this thing at just Mach Jesus, probably pissing off everybody around me, because they're just like, oh, Jake's gonna kick sideways, and like, it's gonna, you know, you're
gonna cause an accident, you're gonna go into the wall, whatever.
I'm not following a line. Like, if you're going sideways, you aren't following a line. So like, yeah, it was probably a nightmare to be behind me, because all of a sudden, like, I would slow way down into the corner because I'm pitching sideways, and so I'm having all of this loss of grip, and it's slowing, you know, it's just not the right kind of momentum. And I figured it out, and I was like, oh, I should try and like, I should go a little bit slower, modulate my throttle, like, you know, not let off in the gas a little bit when I just like touch the brakes slightly. And I started doing some of those things, and before I know it, I was like 0.2 or 1/10 off from the fastest person that was running that day. Yeah, like, I knocked over a second off of it.
Yeah, racing's interesting about that, because like you said, people who have never done it before are like, oh yeah, you just go as fast as you can.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not the case.
No. Like, in a matter of speaking, yes, you go as fast as you can, because as fast as you can will be your fastest lap. But usually what that equates to is out of control.
Yeah, you're not
Sliding.
going, as fast as you can into the corners, smashing the brake all of a sudden and putting your foot back down to rip out of the corner. So you want that nice, smooth transition to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of people, too, don't realize, like, you kind of want to actually use the whole track. And
Oh,
what-
yeah,
what-
yeah.
And what I mean by that, because some people at home are like, of course you're using the whole track, you're going around in circles, is the width of the track. Like, you don't want to just stay on the inside because, yes, technically, if you were to walk it, you would walk a shorter distance if you stayed on the inside versus the outside. But you actually want to kind of go from you're going into a corner, you want to start wide, go in, and then exit high again. You want to use the entire pavement to make your fast time.
Yeah, I think it's all about like how the lines relate to momentum and grip.
Yep.
So you might sacrifice distance in the pursuit of grip. So that's why you might be taking something wide to apex the corner, because you know that that line means there's going to be less lateral pull. So it's not going to like want to pull the traction out from underneath you.
Yeah, the back end of your car's not going to slide out all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But because you're that line you're taking, you're not cutting in harder. It's just a lot smoother of a corner. You can actually carry more speed through it that way too. You're not slowing down as much. So it's a very fine line.
Yeah, it really is. And anybody who's done a little bit of like go-kart racing or actual, Auto X or road course kind of gets what we're talking about, especially karting, because it's tight courses and it's funner, it's lower stakes.
Yeah,
so like,
there's less
I shouldn't
chance
say
you're gonna
funner,
hurt
it's
yourself.
sillier. Yeah. So you can just like really test that relationship.
I think karting can be a lot more competitive versus Auto X and road course, only because you're in somebody else's shit. So let's be honest, you're not worried about crashing your car.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
With karting, if you're right on somebody and you're chasing them and you nudge them a little bit, you don't feel bad really, unless they're spin out of control and hurt themselves.
Yeah, because the karts are built for it.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're doing an SCCA track night and you accidentally nudge somebody, I would be pissed because you just bumped into my car.
You just scuffed my bumper or whatever. Yeah. And if you're that close, you're kind of being an asshole, probably.
Yeah. So in a weird sort of way, karting has its advantages over actual auto racing, because I feel you can kind of push it a little bit further, because like I said, if you accidentally nudge somebody, it's just a go-kart.
Yeah.
So you're gonna push them a little bit further.
Very true.
You're just not going as fast.
Yeah, right. Well, and the karts too, like they know that they can't let you do 55 miles an hour. So the trade-off for speed is you're trading to complexity in the corners and stuff, which is super fun. Like, I think that's where you get much more competitive racing. The more complicated, the more corners, just the more complicated the racing is, the greater the stakes, because it's not just straight up like, oh, I'm on a straight for however long, and then this turn one's this big gradual thing. Yeah, it's like you're spending so much time just modulating your controls that you end up battling for this little tenth of a second. And I'm sure road course gets like that when we're talking comp Vipers or
the kind of racing that Evan does is probably like that.
Oh, on the bikes?
Yeah, on the bikes, all that, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely more competitive versus the SCCA track nights.
Yeah, those are probably competitive if you have the right group of people. But I mean, I'd guess that like in a lot of situations, it's probably like a handful of people that are pretty damn good at it, battling with each other, and the rest of it is just people giving it a try, or just out to see if they can beat their best time or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's
karting is so fun.
It's a blast.
It's so ridiculous.
And if you need a good visual on what we're talking about as far as like apex and hitting the right corner and just being competitive racing, watch the movie Ford versus Ferrari, because it kind of showcases all of that super well. And as a movie buff, like it does. It shows. He talks about the perfect line, and even explains to his child of how you set markers on your throttle response and where you're going to slow down and how you want to enter the corners and all that kind of stuff. So if you need a little bit of a perspective, check that one out.
Yeah. Ford vs Ferrari is really an excellent movie.
And it's like I said, to me that's what I loved about that is it showcases racing rather well.
It does. So my favorite part about Ford vs Ferrari is just like it's pure American racing. Like I'm sure Europe is very similar, but this is sort of our experience, and I love the Ford GT. I love it because it's so obnoxiously American. Like you took this custom built chassis and put this just vulgar gigantic engine into it. It's not this like small displacement V12 or V10, you know.
And then ironically, you had all these issues with it because it was overpowerful for what the chassis was.
It was a death wish.
Yeah, so you had to get a European to kind of say, hey, let's dial this in. Let's focus on the aerodynamics and actually make this thing handle the power you guys
exactly.
put into it.
That's the thing. I know, like, I've seen a couple of Carroll Shelby's designs that I don't like, but he's built a lot of cars that are just downright masterpieces. And the GT was it was unbelievable. Like, it sounds incredible. It was terrifyingly fast.
It looks gorgeous.
Beat Ferrari and Le Mans. Like, it's such an amazing story. And yeah, it's so purely American because it's like we're gonna stuff this gigantic 400 and some cubic inch V8 into the back of this thing.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it was like a 429 or something like that.
Stupid
massive for the time. And yeah, it was a downright rocket. A rocket that had garbage brakes.
And I don't know 100% how accurate it is. I haven't read the story on
movie to
yeah. I know there's some things they had that were true, but the whole the premise of the movie is Ford tries to buy Ferrari shit talks Ford says fuck you, we're gonna build a race car and kick your ass.
Yep.
Which is very American.
Yeah, it is.
I think there's actually some truth to that.
I think it followed the story pretty damn good.
I think that's pretty accurate. Which is just, it makes that much more American.
Yeah, and
you talk some shit. Okay, we're gonna put you in your place.
If you want some perspective from a European perspective, Top Gear actually had an episode that covered it.
Really? Okay, yeah. I did not watch that episode.
It's amazing. It's an excellent episode.
I remember the episode where Clarkson was doing a review on the new GT.
Oh, no shit.
The best thing about it is they made it bigger so you could actually fit in it.
Yeah.
And he went to go sit in the old one, and where the roof line was, it actually would have chopped off like the top of his head.
Wow, really?
He's that tall.
Well, how tall is Clarkson?
Like 6'3", I think. He's tall. He's over 6 feet.
That's true. I mean, standing really next to Hammond, he's like a foot taller than him.
Yeah,
so
but Hammond's like your
probably
size.
like 6'5". Oh yeah. Me and Richard Hammond, I think, are the same height.
Yeah, Hammond's not super
I'm
tall.
5'8". I don't know what Hammond is.
Yeah, probably about that.
Yeah, he's got to be around there. I know, it's so funny. Yeah. So, I don't know how we got on this.
I don't know either.
Go-karts to racing
Ferrari versus Top Gear.
Yeah.
Top Gear, again, if you don't know a lot about cars, you'd like to learn more. Top Gear might be the most non-car person friendly car show to watch.
Oh, hands down, dude.
My stepdad appreciates cars, but doesn't know cars. Like if he got a flat tire, I get a phone call.
Right.
But I mean, like if he sees a Chevy Bel Air go down the road, he'd be like, "Oh, that's a cool car."
Yeah, he can appreciate the beauty in them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, he's the one that introduced me to Top Gear when I was younger. He's like, "You gotta watch this," and yeah, he loves that show.
Yeah, well, my wife loves it too, and she's from like a hot rodding family, but she likes she loves cars. She loves the aesthetic of 50s cars. That is her jam. So, of course, here we are. But yeah, so like she doesn't necessarily get into some of the car shows that I'll have on. I'll have like Motor Trend stuff. She kind of gets roadkill because it's so novelty. Like it's such a novelty based kind of show. It's just like a couple of doofuses. It's what we would do if we knew V8s a little bit better And yeah, like we were just in the industry long enough that we have all, we have access to all of the stuff. We got the time. We can have a camera crew follow us around. Like we'd probably do the same thing where we go pick up a Ranchero and try and drive it up to Alaska.
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Sounds like the dream. But it's so fun and just silly, and the guys are just, I mean, you can't help but just like love the dudes, right? So she likes that show a lot, but some of them are like way more technical, some of the shows.
Yeah.
She doesn't necessarily get it, but Top Gear, she loves because she loves the personalities.
Exactly. My wife, not so much into cars, but she likes Top Gear specials where they're doing adventures.
Oh,
and
dude,
like
yeah.
the Vietnam one.
Vietnam is a masterpiece.
Vietnam is not my favorite one, but it's in my top 3.
Yeah.
My favorite one's probably the Bolivia special.
Bolivia is very good.
Yeah, where they have to go down the deadliest road in the world.
Yeah. Do you want another?
Yeah,
you want one of these? Okay.
Yeah, I gotta work tomorrow, so.
Yeah, exactly.
But she loves the specials, but like the normal episodes where they're a little bit more techie.
Right.
She doesn't necessarily care for them. She's like, okay, why do I give a shit that they're reviewing the new Corvette?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, that's true. That's true. Because like we're on the edge of our seat wondering like how it competes against the Exocet or the K-Trum or like when
they
came off easy.
When they had the LFA on there for the first time.
Oh
like,
my
let's
God,
see how
that
it does against
sound.
Ferrari and Lamborghinis.
That
and
fucking sound.
McLarens.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's such a good beer.
you inherit $100 million. What's the very first car you're gonna go buy?
Oh my God. Porsche 356.
Ooh,
Probably-
I should have known that.
Probably oh man, which version?
Okay.
Man, honestly, I love a Pre-A, but that I'd feel so bad about doing any modifications to it. I know this is gonna sound lame, but I'd probably do a C, which is like the last version of the 356, just because I
Okay.
wouldn't feel as bad about modifying it.
I guess, yeah, if you have that much money,
Yeah.
who cares?
Second car would probably be a like 77, 76 911.
I love how you inherit $100 million and none of the cars are newer than 1980s.
Oh, no. Well, okay, so if we're talking like, is there any like newer cars that I would buy? Well, I mean, I get another Del Sol for sure.
In a heartbeat?
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
See, I have one like supercar. It's not really like supercar, not exotic. It's up there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd buy a Ferrari 458.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've gotten to drive one and loved it.
It's unreal.
Unreal. So I have to buy that. But before I bought the Ferrari, would be the Subaru Brat.
Oh, yeah,
I'd
totally.
I'd went
Yeah.
down, and I'd probably buy like. I'd love to get like a late 50s Bug.
Yes.
It'd be super cool to find.
Yeah, if you could find like late 50s, early 60s. I mean, an oval window or a split would be fucking beautiful.
I'd love one of that.
I know that's the thing is like there's so many cars that I'd want to buy, and so many of them are just old.
Yeah.
Like I'd have so few modern cars.
I think the Ferrari would be the daily. I'd have a Brat, an old Bug, a 21 window bus.
Yeah, 21 window's the right choice because then you don't feel quite so bad about driving it a lot. It's not like a 26 window where it's like literally a rare as fuck.
Yeah, but the 21 is still cool as hell.
Oh yeah,
You're still dropping
totally.
a couple $100,000 to buy a 21 window, but you're not. You're not ruining history
For a perfect one, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So okay. Well, this is a wonderful. I love these conversations. So what you said? You daily drive a 458.
Hell yeah. Drive the shit out of that.
What would you? So okay, if you were to pick up a daily driver that is family friendly, like you need to be able to haul the family with it, throw the dogs in the back, what would that be?
Where do we live? Do we still live in Minnesota? Because
we'll say
matters.
Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay, so I have to put the dog in the back.
Yeah.
And
Just
the
something
kids.
that you like want to go explore with. You want to just throw the kids in, you go to the park, throw the kids in, you go camping, whatever. Just like truly a daily. Because I know you own a Forester, so you're not gonna daily a 458 because you can't pick your kid up from daycare.
Yeah, that's what the bike's for.
Fair enough. Yep. Both kids. You can't pick both kids up in a 458.
I'd probably buy an Audi wagon of some sort.
Oh no shit. So like an RS6, like
Yeah.
the new RS6.
Yeah, I'd take an RS6 wagon.
That is such a good answer. Nice, dude. Okay.
It's comfortable as hell. So if we're gonna road trip to Florida in it. Okay, cool. You're not gonna get sore from riding around in it. But
oh God, no. No, you wouldn't want to leave the car. They are a masterpiece.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's such a good answer.
You could put nice wheels on it, bag it, good exhaust, and still enjoy driving it daily. Yeah. I don't know if I'd put the dog in it. I mean, I guess I'll have the money to not give a shit about the interior.
Right.
Yeah, the dog. Right. But by dog, we have a golden retriever and a Saint Bernard. So
yeah, it's true. The Saint Bernard.
They will destroy the fuck out of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
see, it's funny. That's such a good answer. Okay, so for me, honestly, I would probably get the new TRD Pro 4Runner.
Ooh, that's a good answer too.
Yeah.
So
now they're not the most expensive vehicle in the world. Like I could go with a Land Cruiser, or like there's more elaborate things. Like even I think the new Tahoe is like really pretty, but I just love the utilitarian effect of it. A roll down back window. You can stuff it full of the family and the kids and just drive into the woods.
See, and I love that too because I didn't think about snow.
Mm-hmm.
The RS6, yes, you
RS6 would be amazing in the snow.
It would.
Honestly, I think that is such a good answer.
But if we got a lot of snow, if we got a typical Minnesota storm where we were getting 10 inches overnight, the RS6 could probably do it, but the 4Runner is the better choice on that.
Yeah. So what's your style then? What kind of like SUV would you be picking up?
I have a soft spot for Jeep Wranglers.
Nice, yeah.
So you can't. Those aren't really family friendly. I think the 4-doors are horrible. I hate 4-door Jeeps. They should not be 4-doors. They should be 2.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hate the 4-door Jeeps.
Okay. I see. I don't mind them.
They're too big.
Yeah.
I like the basic 90s Wrangler.
Yeah.
Here's what you get. It's got a steering wheel. It's got brakes. 2 doors.
Well, when you grow up with CJ5s, you see the new ones, or even if you are familiar or had a Willys, and you look at the JKs, you're like, Jesus, these things are gigantic.
You know what I would buy? And it's because I technically didn't own it. It was not my name. I would buy a 91 Pathfinder 5-speed.
You'd own a 91 Pathfinder. Would you daily that?
Oh, hell yeah. I loved that dumb
That's
thing.
so funny.
That thing was just, it was rugged. It was basic as hell. And it just had this feel to it that if I threw a dart on a map, I could just go there. No matter where it was, it would just go there. Like it just had that feel to it.
Right.
It was a pile of shit.
Yeah.
The 4-wheel drive worked when it wanted to. It had a hole in the floor. Had holes all over the place.
Yeah.
But
that's what they do, man. They rot.
It just had this feel that, like, I don't know, if a boulder fell down in front of you, it could just go over.
It'd drive over it, right?
Figure it out.
Yeah, there is something special about, especially about 90s vehicles.
They didn't overcomplicate them.
They didn't, and they were incredibly capable. Like, fuel injection was really reliable by that point. So you had that, the turnkey effect.
Yeah, they were fuel injected, so you had that reliability, but they were like, we're going to monitor everything.
Yeah.
So if we don't think that the air-fuel ratio is 100% spot on, we're not going to just kill the car.
Right. We're not going to limp mode it.
Yeah, we're not going to limp mode it. We're not going to throw a check engine light. We're just going to let you drive it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So, like, I look at 90s vehicles in terms of, like, sort of that overall, like, ruggedness of them. And the first one that always comes to mind is the XJ. So, like, a Jeep Cherokee Classic. Yep. Literally a tank. S10s. Can't kill them.
Yeah, okay. You can't... The drivetrain you can't kill, but
right.
the body's going to rot out within weeks.
Oh, totally. Well, and the XJ's not much better. 90s cars are just like, they rust. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, they're not great about that. 90s Subarus, anything with the EJ22E, can't kill it.
No, you can't. I've tried to.
Yeah, exactly. I just think 90s vehicles are so good. Dodge, the 318 was just perfected by that point.
Yeah.
You can't kill a 318. It was the Vortec engines, like the Chevy Vortec engines.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Ford had the straight six, the 4-liter, 4 point something or other.
Well, and then
There were so many good motors in the 90s.
Well, the Toyota, the Camrys had that was
The
it?
2.4 or the 1.8.
Yeah, also bulletproof as hell. Hondas you couldn't kill.
Yeah, it was a good time. And the cars were definitely like a little more rugged.
Yeah,
Some of them were.
well, and I love like
Not
a
Hondas.
lot of the Japanese markets.
The CRVs
markets.
maybe.
So like Hondas were like, here's what you get. Okay, you got $5,000. Cool.
Yeah.
It's got a radio, and the windows roll down. Here you go,
Dude, so
it'll get you 45 miles to the gallon. Enjoy it.
I love that you brought that up. So, okay. And I'm going to direct this towards the people as well. So, one of my favorite things about the 90s was the fact that you could buy bare bones cars.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, what happened to that?
So one of my first cars was a 97 Legacy wagon, and I love that car. One of these days, I'm going to hunt down that car and buy it back.
That specific car.
I loved that car. And it was the basic model. 5-speed, manual windows. It didn't even have a tachometer.
Oh, wow.
It
Is
was
that a
that
shift
basic.
light?
No.
No shift light.
No shift light. You just simply off
You
sound.
listen for the valve float.
Yeah. You're like, okay, and pinging, cool. Shift.
Exactly.
But it was stupid simple. And loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
I drove the thing down to Kansas and back a couple of times to see buddies, and it was so awesome.
Yeah, that was such a good car.
No cruise control. Easiest thing in the world to work on if you had to work on it, which was like once every 7,000 years.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like why make things more complicated than they have to be?
So okay, I miss the days, and I feel like I realized this around like 2010 or 2010 ish. Something dawned on me when I was looking at like new vehicles, and I was like weirded out because I was looking at Hondas, and I was like, why can't you buy a bare bones Civic anymore? I can't get a Civic with Steelies anymore because I went on like the new, like build your own new Honda or whatever, and there was no base model. And I went through a couple of the different companies' websites, and the only one that offered like steel wheel, like simple as fuck, was Toyota. Like you could get Yaris's with steel wheels, and you could get Scions. You could get the TC with steel wheels, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And I thought that was so baffling. I was like, okay, so everything has power windows, everything has power locks. Like, yeah, so you can't get steel wheels on stuff. Well, actually, steel wheels might not be a good example because I bet you could get steel wheel cars still. Maybe even now you can still get them. But you know what I mean? Like the ones with like no electronics, no weight in it, like bare bones. So I want to like buy this thing. Like you should be able to buy a BRZ with nothing in it.
That'd be fantastic.
The reason I say BRZ is because if somebody goes like, I want the cheapest BRZ possible, I want a 5-speed, the stock motor in it, crank windows, manual locks, no bullshit.
So you want a Miata?
Exactly. That's exactly it. I want a first-gen Miata, but with modern performance.
Oh, God,
what happened to that?
I have no clue.
I don't know. I think it's like I don't know, because you'd think it'd be cheaper for the manufacturer to still do it.
You would. And one of the things I love about having such a basic car, because the Pathfinder was that same way, it's the closest you can get to feeling like you're on a motorcycle while driving a car.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like, you will feel more connected with your car the less shit your car has.
Oh, totally.
And it's a way better driving experience.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why manufacturers don't do that anymore is simply just basic technology. Like, it's just expected to have power windows now. It's expected to have cruise control. These are all, technological advances in automotive that have been around for ages, so it should just come with it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a bummer, though, that you can't buy a Toyota pickup that is a manual gearbox, manual windows, no cruise control, bare basic truck.
What year was it? I think 20. So I was still doing mobile electronics. I want to say that it was like 2010 maybe. Might have been 2010, 2011-ish. So we had a pretty new Tacoma come in, and it was a 5-speed, 4-cylinder, crank windows, manual locks.
Awesome.
So they still offered them. Like, Toyota was like basically the only manufacturer I could find that would still offer like the bare minimum.
And I think because Toyota makes cars for people. What I mean by that is...
So wait, like Chevy makes cars for dogs or lamb?
Cats.
Yeah.
No. What I mean for that is Toyota's like, oh, we'll sell you a car. We don't give a shit what you want it. You want all the features? We got that for you.
Yeah, you want none of the features?
You want a skateboard with a steering wheel? We got that too.
Yeah, we'll hook you up, dog.
Yeah, like Toyota's like, we will literally sell you whatever we possibly can to get your business. Because we're in the business to sell fucking cars.
I would love to hear like what a person who spent years with Toyota, you know, whether they fix them or they sell them or whatever. I'd love to get their take on that. Like, is Toyota still like the people's brand? They still offer like the bare bones stuff. Do they also offer like, because I mean, you can get like a pimped out Camry these days.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So it's like
the new Tacomas are
oh my god,
incredible.
Yeah, they're so good.
I looked at them and I'm like, that's more than I paid for my first house.
Well, it's funny. It's like I'm becoming such a Toyota fanboy these days because they're just so good.
They're great cars.
Yeah,
they're fantastic. There was a meme that went around for the longest time that said Toyota had to recall the 90s Camry because people kept driving them. It's time to get a new car.
No shit. Yeah, isn't that the truth? I know it's like Honda used to be like that though. Honda used to be like the go-to brand that was like cheap, simplified,
and then like
did what you needed to do.
2004 or 5 hit, and Toyota just
something weird happened.
Yeah, and Toyota's like, well, we're just gonna keep doing what works. We've been doing this. Since the
we're
60s.
gonna do what we've been doing forever. And Honda was like, I'm gonna start complicating things.
We're gonna ruin the Civic.
Yeah,
we're gonna get rid of the Integra/RSX. We're not gonna continue the Honda S2000.
Unreal that they killed the.
Yeah.
Honestly,
we're gonna keep the Civic and the Accord and start making SUVs.
The
crossovers.
best Japanese roadster ever made. And I know that's going to burn some people.
That's burning me a little bit.
Because I think it's better than the Miata.
I still think the NA Miata is probably the best one.
Is that the first generation?
Yeah, that's the one I had. Just because it didn't even have power steering. Like they were like,
yeah,
here, like it's got a motor, 2 seats, it's rear-wheel drive. Like, what do you want from us?
Fair enough.
There was no effort put into making the Miata, and that's what makes it so great.
I think there was a lot of effort put into the driving experience, and creature comforts were sort of like,
optional.
Do you fit in the seat? Which a lot of people don't fit in the seat, but do you like, can you sit in it and drive it?
Yeah.
Not like can you sit and drive it comfortably, but can you sit in it and drive it? Can you? Okay, yes.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Race this fucking car.
I felt like I had to like crawl into it and then like roll out of it.
Yeah. So the S2000, and I think what makes it so special is its 50-50 weight distribution. They make 200 plus horsepower. The first generation revved to 9,500 RPMs.
That's rotary territory.
Yeah, they made, I think it was 95 or 92, something like that. They made such good power. They were so light, and they're really exciting. So the one thing that I adore about Hondas from the, and yeah, like it's honestly like the best looking modern Japanese roadster.
Is the LFA considered a roadster? I guess.
It's not is it a Targa or is it a convertible? Roadster is a convertible.
Okay, that's what I'm getting a little mixed up my terminology. It's just a coupe then. I don't think they made the LFA in a convertible.
Oh yeah, the LFA is a masterpiece for sure.
Different conversation.
Yeah, and I just think what's so special about the S2000 is just like if you've ever driven one, they're just so exciting. Honestly, a 1999 Honda Civic Si is such a blast to drive. It's literally exciting because it revs to like. it sounds like a motorcycle. You're just like, when is this thing gonna hit rev limiter? And you're like, oh my god, it's doing 8,900 RPMs.
Well,
like,
maybe
it sings like a sewing machine.
Maybe it's because our Civic's just a piece of shit, but it's also very exciting to ride.
Yeah, dude, I know,
like,
it's so fun.
It's weird, like you can just rip through the gears. Like I'm gonna accelerate into the highway and just bounce off rev limiter and not give a shit. And the thing's like, okay, that's cool.
Drive an Integra GSR.
It wasn't a GXR. I don't know what Dylan had.
Was it a VTEC Integra?
Yes.
Then it was a GSR.
Okay, maybe. Okay.
They're punchy.
It was.
And they
blast.
rev. They're so fun to drive.
So.
Yes, they're front wheel drive. Like we can shit talk front wheel drive until we are blue in the fucking balls.
You are talking to somebody who is more into road course racing than he is drifting, so that does not matter to me.
Or just doing burnouts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's
on my bucket list of cars to build is a EG hatch and a second gen Integra.
Oh yeah.
I love them, absolutely love them, and they're just to me they're the iconic like childhood like first modifying car. This is what gets you into
totally
cars.
Yeah.
My generation, that's what we had.
It's our generation's Mustang.
Yeah, which is sad. Just a little sad.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, and the criticism of these cars is fair. I mean, they're small displacement engines. They don't make a ton of torque.
They do have a bad reputation.
They sound horrific if you just slap a fart can on them.
They had the whole when I put big body kits and underglow on them. Scene going
definitely.
on. But they're a blast to drive.
They really are.
And they're simple to work on. They're stupid simple.
Yeah, they really are.
You want to learn how to turn wrenches? Start with the Civic.
Yeah,
There's
pretty
like
much.
4 moving parts, and 3 of those are the cylinders.
Yeah, pretty much. So, talking about we've kind of grew up in a really cool era for cars. I feel bad for like Gen Z, because Gen Z is growing up with they've got some good options. Like the Subarus are pretty cool. They're a handful. Like basically every single Gen Z kid who's into cars wants a turbo Subaru, and it's like that's the equivalent of everybody wanting a DSM, where you're like, I hope you guys understand how sensitive these cars are. Like they're amazing performance, but they all blow up.
I don't quite get it, and I don't know if we're just seeing that more just because of where we live. Oh, I can only afford one car. We get a bunch of snow. I'm buying a Subaru for the all-wheel drive, which makes total sense. I get that
totally.
But if I was starting out nowadays. Okay, so let's say you're 16 right now. What would be your dream like first car?
Okay, so if I was 16 as a Gen Zer,
as a Gen Zer, what would you go for your first fun car to try and buy?
Okay, so so when you ask me that question, I go like, well, am I 16 with like my current mind, or am I like? Are you asking facetiously? Like, am I gonna buy a Subaru? Is that what you're asking?
If you had to give advice to a Gen Zer about their first car,
gotcha.
What would you say? Because I would not say Subaru. I would not. I would push away from the Subaru.
Okay, so let's say I'm 16. I want something that's fun to drive that is gonna turn heads. It's got to be affordable.
Somewhat affordable. I mean, you can get a WRX for $6-ish grand, give or take, depending on condition.
Okay.
If you think about it.
Yeah. Well, honestly, Subaru is going to be pretty high on that list just because they're trendy. Kind of everybody wants them, so it's gonna, it's gonna turn heads. It's gonna make choo-choo sounds for the 500 miles before it rod knocks.
Or down the block before it just decides to mix oil and water.
Yeah, fucking. Evo. An Evo, but I don't know if you can afford them.
You can't afford an Evo. Evo, you're spending at least, 13, 14 grand?
Yeah, probably.
Just to go look at it one.
Well, okay, so, like, in terms of, like, goals, BRZ is probably going to be really high on that list because you can fanboy the fuck out of them. They 14. Turn heads. They handle super good. If you're, like, the kid who actually wants a car that you can drive and race. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
God, I'd say probably an E36 M3, but that might be out of your reach.
That's a really good pick.
It's like, what can you afford though?
But you can get a non-M3 E36 though for what, $3 to $4 grand?
Yeah.
3 to 5 maybe on condition.
Sure, like
it's a convertible with a hard top.
that's still a 6-cylinder probably.
Yeah, that's not a bad option. And the E36 is like right at that point where BMW is like, we're not going to completely fuck over the car, but we're going to think about it.
Right. We're just starting to add enough bullshit that's going to, make it a problem.
The E36 is a very solid choice.
The E36 is such a natural graduation from the E30. I think it's just like, they were like, oh, cool. Like, let's add a bunch of bells and whistles. Let's like build a motor that's got some fucking kick to it.
It's not 100% electronic across the board.
Exactly. M52 is a phenomenal engine. S52 is a masterpiece for just a production straight six performance engine.
I don't know what I would pick.
Yeah, it's, I mean, for like a current 16-year-old, and if I'm on a 16-year-old budget, though, honestly, I mean, I still have to assume that's going to be, you're scraping by, so you're probably buying a 90s car, honestly.
Probably.
You're still probably looking at the Hondas, I don't know. God, what's even a fun rear-wheel drive 90s vehicle anymore?
Well, because a 240
S10?
A 240X is still going to cost you a pretty penny, and it's going to be clapped out.
It's going to be a fortune for it.
I think if you are patient and you talked your parents into traveling a little bit.
SRT4.
No.
No?
GTST.
GTST, two-wheel drive DSM.
No, I may be wrong in my terminology. The all-wheel drive Celica.
Oh,
is that the GST or GTST?
Okay, so damn it.
I think if
you're thinking of a Celica All-Track.
Yes, it's the All-Track, but there's another name for them too.
All-Tracks are. Okay, so the All-Track.
They pop up once in a while in that 6 range.
That's a pretty hard to find car.
If you can find it.
Yeah, if you can find it, I think they're still under 10 grand. And that's the thing. Okay, this is so funny because I think this is where like age starts kind of fucking up your sense of values.
Probably.
Like a value and price, right? So I'm still in that like, wow, I'm a 16-year-old, so I can only afford a $3,000 car or a $2,000 car. Well, the $3,000 car from yesterday is now the $7,000 car of today. So then I go, yeah, maybe it's a 240SX, it's a first-gen WRX,
B5.
It's a B5A4, exactly. Yeah. God damn, I don't know what the fuck 16-year-olds are into besides Subarus.
No, just take the bus and save your money.
Yeah, just save your fucking
Buy
ducats, and then I don't even know what you would buy. E36 M3.
Yeah. God, is that the conclusion we're coming to?
I don't know.
If you're a teenager, your first car should be an E36. That's horrible advice.
I don't know, because it's rear-wheel drive, especially up here. I as a 16-year-old, no. Like, a 16-year-old should be driving a heap of shit that's reliable. Honestly, they should be driving a 1999 Civic 4-door. We've got one we'll sell you for
I have
$1,000.
a better option. It's completely left field. You can get them cheaper.
Dodge Omni.
Close. You can get them cheaper. They might be a little bit harder to come by just because of time. Ford, the Interceptors. Just found an old Ford Interceptor.
Oh, we're talking cop cars. Yeah.
V8 rear-wheel drive. Comfortable as fuck.
I think you hit the nail on the head.
You can get them fairly inexpensive.
Yeah, honestly, I think you nailed it.
Put your buddies in the back.
So depending on your taste, if you dig Fords over Chevys, Ford Crown Vic.
Yeah, Crown Vic.
If you like Chevys, you should get a Caprice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Done.
I don't even know if you can find them anymore, though. You can probably find the Crown Vics like crazy.
No.
Caprice has got a little bit of a following, so those might be a little harder to get.
That's true, but the Crown Vic. Crown Vic.
There you go, man. You gotta, if you're 16 years old, go buy a Crown Vic. You've got a huge back seat, so you can try and finger all the girls back there.
You got enough power. You got enough power to do burnouts, so you can attract the girls.
Yeah, you can do all the heaters.
Yeah, the trunk's big enough, so when you club the girls over the head, you have a place to put them.
Jesus Christ. Exactly. You can fit all of your fishing poles back there.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah, the bodies. Yeah, no, it's a great. Honestly, that's a really good call. Yeah, I feel like that, or like a 2001 Silverado. You know.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's just like it's just a good vehicle because you got to save up your
bad.
ducats to get something better later on.
Or just take the bus and save your money.
God damn, I don't know. Like when I was 16, what was my ideal? Honestly, like.
Let's see, for me,
It was Hondas.
Yeah, it was like Integras, EG
Yeah,
hatches.
it was all the Fast and the Furious cars. Like, because I knew full fucking well I was not buying a Mark IV Supra.
I've never owned a Honda.
You've never owned a Honda?
The wife's had two. I've never had
Okay.
any of them.
Yeah, I mean they're great. I don't like the new ones. I mean, honestly, like the K series engines and the J series engines are some of the best motors on the planet. I mean, I think like the K24 might be the best 4-cylinder ever made. And I know you're thinking like, oh, the 4G63 is the best 4-cylinder.
No,
like, I know that's fair. It's fair.
Good.
It's
good.
a phenomenal motor. But the 4G, it has its problems. Like they were riddled with issues, and it's because people crank up the boost controllers. I know. I am thinking all the things that you're thinking. The K24 is just, it's incredibly reliable. It's got the best heads that Honda's ever made.
Yeah, they just swapped the K24 into literally
everything.
Yeah,
they swapped the K24 into cars that already have excellent motors. So that alone should tell you.
There are people K-swapping Miatas.
Oh, yeah, that's an incredible build. MR2s.
There's a guy in town, Alex. Oh, man, it's not Opium.
Ophium?
No, what's his last name?
Ophium.
Ophium?
Yeah, it's like Ophium or something like that.
Yeah, not Opium though.
Is he K swapping his Mia or his MR2?
No, doesn't he have a K swapped A86?
A F swapped. So it's an S2000 engine.
Okay, I thought it was a K24 swap.
Yeah, it's an F20C.
Either way.
Yeah. Yeah, that car's freaking great. But so the K series is like they've swapped them into Subarus, they swapped them into Miatas, they've swapped them into BMWs.
Yeah,
like
everything
under the sun has got there's Model A's with turbo K series running around in them because they're just such a good motor, and you can put a turbo on them. I'm pretty sure you don't even have to crack open the bottom end, you'll make 500 horse. Like they just handle it.
So why am I putting an SR20 into my E30?
I think they're tall. I think that might be part of the problem. You might have some hood clearance issues. But yeah, I mean, that's why I keep telling you we have to hang on to that transmission. That what is it again?
260.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure you can get an adapter plate that'll bolt to a K series. So it's a good transmission to hang on to.
Put a K series in the RX-7.
We could. We definitely could. It'd be a really fun car to drive. I still think we should LS swap it because we're trying to do burnouts. K-Series will do burnouts, don't get me wrong, but not like a LM7 would.
So if you'd like to sponsor the show, we take donations of K-Series, LS's, SR20 parts. We'll take LS parts, 5.3 parts.
Nudes.
Some nudes.
We'll take some nudes, most nudes.
Send a mugshot first, and then we'll choose.
We'll give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Oh my god, man. This is so funny. I feel like the poor people just had to listen to us go on a tangent about cars for...
Oh god. Yeah, my wife's probably not going to listen to this podcast.
Okay, so let's close this out with, what do you think is the ultimate minivan? Or the ultimate van?
Oh man, I love that question. Okay, so I have a list.
Awesome.
So my top 3 all-time favorite minivans for various
top
reasons.
3.
I have a top 3.
Wow. Okay.
Number 3 is the Odyssey.
Okay. Cool.
Because I can't remember the dude's name off the top of my head. He made like 1,000 horsepower out of his. Doing a K swap actually.
BC Moto.
BC Moto. And it's just a phenomenal van. My grandmother had one. And it's a fantastic van. Number 2 comes in at the Dodge vans.
The Dodgy Bond.
For Dodgy Bod.
Yeah.
My number 1 all-time favorite is the GMC Safari / Astro van. All-wheel drive, captain seats, privacy curtains, mood lighting.
Nice, dude.
Fuck yeah. Sign me right up for that.
So we have very similar van tastes. So the Honda Odyssey, for sure. That's number
van.
3.
Such a good van.
Yeah, they're excellent. And again, like the Honda Odyssey, I'm pretty sure shares a very similar floor pan to the Accord because you can use coilovers for an Accord to slam them.
So I should not buy a Tacoma. I should buy an Odyssey.
No.
Okay.
No. Unless we're stuffing a motor in the back of it to do burn rounds. Number 2, Dodgy Bond. No, actually, I take that back. Number 2 is the Ford Econoline.
Ooh, okay. I can see that.
Ford Econoline, full size, V8. Captain's chairs, like I think the first 2 rows are badass captain's chairs, and then the back is a fold down bed.
That's
it's
how
a
the
bench seat
Astro
with a
is.
fold
That's
down.
exactly how the Astro is.
It's an Astro van, but it's a little bit bigger. My favorite part of those things, they've got wood panels that run along the ceiling with mood lighting.
So that's how the Astro. So my buddy Dylan, his mom had an Astro van growing up that was like that.
It had the panels with the mood lighting?
Yes. The lights, everything.
No way.
The swivel captain's chairs in the middle, the back seat folded down flat.
So the Astro van, you can LS swap those.
So I should buy an Astro van.
So I think there's a handful of them that were 5 speeds. They usually were a 4.3. They had the Astro and the Safari, and the Safari was all-wheel drive, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Pretty badass.
They're freaking sweet.
Number 1 is the Dodgy Bond. Solely because of the drift scene in Japan.
Yes,
like the Dodgy Bond drift scene looks so fun.
That's on the bucket list of building.
Like I just want a full-size Dodge van that it's a 5-speed that I can slide around corners.
We need to buy a cheap van for Dodgy Bond and a rolling podcast studio.
Oh shit, dude. That's a good idea. That's a pretty good idea, dude.
So if you got like $2,000 laying around and you want to invest in a podcast,
or hey, if you've got a Dodge van that isn't rusted to shit, let us know and we might be interested.
I'd be very interested.
Jesus, that's such a good idea. A rolling podcast studio
that can drift.
Because like my thought was like, oh, that's perfect because it's full size, so like you can actually roll a motorcycle in there. Like I think you can actually fit 2 motorcycles in there.
That's the whole reason Dodgy Bond started is motorcycle racing.
Yeah, and I just love the idea of being able to like put a bike inside of the vehicle and you can drive to wherever.
Yeah, I love that.
Be super convenient. Plus, they'd be great for camping out of and that kind of thing. But oh my god, podcasting. That's kind of brilliant.
Why not?
Huh. Okay, guys. Keep it posted.
Yeah.
So this concludes Brews with the Dudes podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. This beer was excellent.
Very good.
And effective.
Yeah, I got to drive home and go to work tomorrow. So
yeah.
Screw it.
Cool. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you next week where we will talk about
more stuff.
Dodge vans. All right, bye, guys. Take care.
See ya.